Sorry, I forgot to unmute my mic. What's up, people? We got a little pop up going on for you today. This probably won't take that long, but I did want to talk about this because it keeps coming up. Um, this is what we call a pop up on this channel where something just gets my attention, and I decide, oh, we should log on and do a live stream right quick and talk about it. So that's what this is. Not totally over planned or anything, but I think it's something that you will find to be of value. So in our society, we have a lot of women that are single mothers. And, there's generally, different ways that a woman might become that. I mean, she might get custody of children that are a relatives. That relative, went into the crack zone, died, became mentally ill, and went into a hospital treatment facility of some sort. Is dying of, some kind of terminal disease, and those kids need someone to take care of them. So the woman has a sister, an aunt, something like that. She will, take custody of those children. They're not hers. She didn't birth them. Um, but she feels, that she should step up and make sure that they are protected and taken care of. So that's one way. Another way is a woman was married. She did everything correctly, and she ended up divorced. So she's not really a single mother if the father is, participating in parenting. She's, the custodial parent, but, both parents are still involved in the raising of the child. And so, I mean, technically, I guess she's a single mother because she has the majority of custody, but she's not really doing it by herself because that father's very involved. There's the kind of parent, whether you were married or single, where you had a relationship with the guy, and suddenly, when it ends, he not only discards you, he discards the children. So he just like ghost, and those kids only have their mother to depend on to raise them and protect them, feed them and clothe them. And then there's those who do what they think is the right thing, and then they still have been a single mother anyway because the guy dies. That was what happened here. So either way, from those four options, you end up being a single parent, a single mother. Wait, no, I left out the baby mamas. Okay, so there's actually five. So the ladies who have, they're not married, they're not really even in a serious relationship at all, and they find themselves pregnant, and then they don't, feel like they don't think they should terminate it, and they go on and have the baby with, fathered by some guy they don't even really know, and they go on to raise the child, and the child doesn't have any relationship with his father. She has no relationship with the father, never had a relationship with the father to begin with, and so there you go. So there's actually five. Okay, sorry, I forgot that one. Oh, is Lady Boss here? I forgot to tell her that. Well, that's the whole pop up. Usually I would send her a note, but I forgot. Um, so there you go. Okay, so there's five ways a woman might become a single mom. As you know, all over the internet, there's a lot of vitriol about it, where guys will say, "Don't date single moms," and their point though is very negative. Like a woman, um, I don't know, they're just they just raggedy. That's the bottom line there. But what got my attention, what I wanted to talk about was a post I ran across, and I'm going to show you the guy's, what he wrote. So he says the amount of hate that I have received for saying no single moms on my Tinder profile is insane. He says, seriously, I'm just an average guy, and while I don't get a ton of matches, I still try because I'm hopeful. I noticed a lot, it could just be my area, so he did put that, of single moms on Tinder. And while I don't have a problem with kids, I don't want any right now. I simply put, not interested in single moms, and boy, what a shit show it has been. I had tons of women match me only to call me names and tell me I was a horrible person or that I wasn't much of a catch myself. I was shocked at first because it's just a preference. I see hundreds of profiles demanding 6 foot over guys, but I don't match those women or call them names or shit on them for it. I just find it ridiculous. Okay? So that's what we're going to talk about. These preferences. Well, obviously, he's young. By the time a guy has children himself, this may not be an issue for him because he's in that same category. So, how is he going to complain about somebody having kids when he has some? Okay. But we're not talking about those men. We're talking about the ones who don't want to date a single mother. And, really, there's some women who have kids who don't want to date a man with children because they want all his attention, all his free money and everything to be directed towards them and their children. Now, y'all know we've talked about that on the channel. That is a real thing. They get mad when he has to spend time with his kids and it takes him away from them. Okay, this is an issue. What Sally Kim say? They expect women to be understanding the other way around. Well, just like I always say, people in hell want ice water too. Do they get it? No. So you have just as much right to reject a single father or a man who has, miscellaneous stray babies all over the damn place as they do you. So it's just a matter, a lot of times women want to be more forgiving. They want to like, open their options. They don't want to they want to feel like, "Oh, that's so wrong. I shouldn't feel like that, this and that." But let's just be real. Okay? Let's be real for a minute. So dude says that he no single moms. What does that mean? When you get into a relationship and you young and I remember before I had my daughter, it was no problem. We jacking around and stuff. It might be midnight, 1 o'clock in the morning, and we decide we want to get something to eat. We jump up, put on our clothes, and go out and get something to eat. There's a lot of 24-hour restaurants in Oakland. So, we would do that. We would decide at 11 p.m. that we want to go bowling. Well, the bowling alleys stay open till 4 a.m. So we drive there and we go bowling. We want to kick it with some friends. It starts off early in the evening, but here it is. We close the bar, then we go to breakfast, then we go to somebody's house, and we have an after party. Before we get home, it's 7 a.m. You can't do stuff like that when you have kids. But if a man is single and that's the kind of stuff he wants to do, spur of the moment weekend jaunts, spur of the moment overnights, spur of the moment, anything, you can't do that with him because you got a kid that's got to go to school, that you need a sitter for, that you don't want to bring him because where you're going is inappropriate for a young child to be. This kind of stuff. You can't do it. And if a man wants that kind of lifestyle and he's young and he can do that, then why would you be mad at him for rejecting you with your responsibilities? He didn't make those responsibilities with you. You did that on your own. He has his lifestyle, you have yours. So that's what I found was so interesting that that people were angry at him for having made that decision. Not interested in single moms means he has a lifestyle that he lives where he doesn't want to be bothered. Okay, now let's talk about this. And like I said, you guys have the same option. As a single woman with no children, you have that exact same right to do this. But we're talking about this guy's letter, and so we're talking about men, to women. Okay, but keep in mind, you can flip it. It goes exactly the same way for women not waiting to dating single men. So then you got to also factor in um, the baby daddy drama. Because, a lot of guys, do they want to have a woman had a kid, not for any kind of same reason. They want to have her to have a kid so they can keep tabs on her. So they could always have a reason to tell her what to do. Always be around, just causing shit, stirring up stuff. They might have 20 women, but you have one man and they want to go crazy, right? They want to lose their minds. Always interfering, causing problems, dragging, you through back and forth to court with, getting the child support lowered or what's that? Or they don't pay the child support. You got to chase them down. Like you don't have enough money to do it by yourself. You need the child support to help pay the rent and all this kind of stuff. So, dude coming into a situation like that knows that he's going to get his pockets tapped. If he finds out that you have anything like that going on with, the child's father, then he's going to be put through the ringer dealing with that drama, or he's going to have to come out of pocket to make up some differences that the daddy didn't make up. Some dudes just really don't want to be bothered. And like I said, it's the same with the women. You know, you have, you taking care of the kid for him, you combing the little girl's hair, you changing diapers, while doing laundry, changing pissy sheets, you doing all this stuff, make sure the kids eat, driving them back and forth to school, picking them up and stuff. You kind of step into a mother role, even though that might not be what you really wanted, because you are with a man who has kids. This is a reality check, and I'm not trying to be mean, but we just want to we just want to have a reality check. It's hard out here in these dating streets. Let's put it that way. And two kids, max. Yeah, see, well, like I had my one, my one, and let me think, who did I date that had kids? Hmm, let me think. I think none of the guys I dated had children. Now that I think about it, that they had a serious, you know, halfway serious relationship with. None of them had kids. Um, yeah, I'm trying to. Yeah, none of them. They didn't have any when I was dating them. They have some now, but they didn't at that point. So, but it's a real issue if you are a woman with a child, or with one child or two, three. The more you have, and the more different men you have them by, that just adds, that compounds the problems from the guy's point of view, because a lot of them have this old fashioned view, what they used to call it, a ready made family. And they just, it's a lot to consider. I'm not saying guys aren't going to do it. I'm just saying that it's just a lot. And as a woman with, have made those choices to have all these kids in a baby mama situation, you have to understand what you have done and where it puts you. And back in the 90s, this guy out of LA named Dr. Larry Davis wrote a book called Black and Single. And in it, he coined an acronym called RMV, which is Romantic Market Value. And he described, the different things that increase your RMV and that lower your RMV. And having a bunch of kids, was one of the things that he said lowers your RMV. So, in a situation where you're looking at the black community, where a lot of women have, kids by miscellaneous stray knuckleheads, and then they say, "Oh, I can't find a good man," you know, the ones women who haven't went to school and don't have kids and all that stuff have a same problem getting a man that has no, I mean, getting a guy who has a good, to have a good relationship. In like Dr. Larry Davis's book, he says that by having kids, not having an education, being overweight, these kind of things that a lot of women have going on. He says it lowers your romantic market value. Now, this is still not to say that does not mean that you're not gonna find somebody. He's just saying that be realistic about the fact that it lowers your opportunities. Okay, it impacts your options. That's all I'm saying. So I don't want people being like, "Yeah, what you mean? I know somebody who's 300 pounds and she got a good man." This and that. Okay, That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about Larry Davis, Dr. Larry Davis's point of view that, there's like people that are at the high end of the food chain and people who are in the middle of the food chain and people who are at the bottom of the food chain because of, certain things about them. Okay. That's all we're talking about. Yeah, dude was just being realistic. Just it's kind of a thing like when I talk to the dudes from them groups. Okay, you're not attractive. You a mouth breather. You live in your mother's basement. Your glasses are 2 inches thick. You're like out of shape. You don't talk about nothing. All you do is play video games. You haven't moved off the couch in a week except to eat and go to the bathroom. This kind of stuff. Okay, your R&V is low, dude. It's low. You're not gonna be attractive to a woman who's got it going on. That's what I'm saying. It's just a matter of assessing where you are, what's going on in your life, and kind of adjusting your expectations accordingly. So, for a guy like this, he said, is he had a shit show because he had women call him names and tell him that he was a horrible person because he didn't want to date a single mother. And I'm like, I don't understand why that's a big problem. So some of your girlfriends are men with kids, but I don't know any guys wanting a woman with kids. Yeah, they just don't, you know. And now let's talk about this aspect too. I mean, I hate to say it, but y'all got to be careful. Okay, so these women are angry at dude on Tinder. They all these single moms on Tinder trying to get him a man. You don't know shit about these motherfuckers, okay? Yet you bringing them around your kids. Do you know there's cases? I mean, some guys will intentionally look for single mothers. So you thinking that it's a bad thing that somebody don't want to be with you? It's not. It might be a good thing. And you got guys looking intentionally for women with who are single mothers. They know you tired. They know you sick of them damn kids. Especially if you have a situation where the father never comes to get them. It's all on you 7 days a week. So here he come. What's that? What's that mean? That could mean, I'm not saying it is in every case, but it's something to be suspicious of. He said he's looking for a single mother. And here you are. And he comes into your life and he's looking at your kids. And the next thing you know, he's molesting them. He only got with you so he could have opportunity to molest those kids because that's what he really was after. It wasn't you. You're merely the vehicle to provide him with access to what he really wants, which is your 8-year-old, your 10-year-old boy, your 5-year-old daughter. That's what he really wants. And you thinking it's all great because you got you a boyfriend. You trust him. You let him babysit the kids while you go to the hair salon. This kind of stuff. So, I mean, to me, yeah, they do that, Faith. That is essentially what it is because, um, a lot of women, and y'all know what you all call them, pygmishas. A lot of women are pygmishas. And it's so important to them to have a man. They don't care about the quality of the guy, what his motivations are. They don't care about none of that. Their whole goal is to have a man around. And if their kids get sacrificed in the middle of it, that's just what happens. Yeah, I've even heard stories. I have this survey up that's been up about 12 years about childhood abuse. And I don't know, probably about 200,000 people have responded to it at this point. But one thing that really, what I noticed over and over again, they say that they never told anybody. And that the mama's boyfriend and or stepfathers are the number one position of people who hurt children. So I don't know. I think that, people who got in their feelings about dudes' preference are not really thinking about, and got on their feelings and want to call him names and tell him he's a horrible person and all that kind of stuff. You have to understand these women who was complaining and bitching and stuff like that and getting angry at him. You have to understand that not everybody want to be bothered with your damn kids. Because, the other thing that we haven't talked about are the kids who are badasses. Your kids are bad as hell and you a bad mother. Let's just be realistic. You don't set no boundaries for your kids. You don't discipline them little motherfuckers. You let them do whatever the hell they want to. And then you talk shit to them, but you don't actually do nothing. And so here comes a man who's in there who's been raised, in a way where he has expectations and boundaries and stuff. And he's looking at your parenting style. He's looking at your demon spawn kids that just do whatever the fuck they want to do and how you don't discipline them. And he don't want to be bothered with that shit. So, even if a mother does get a relationship going, too many cases that happens. And the guy leaves because he's like, I don't want to put my hands on her kid, but this kid talks crazy to me. And what am I supposed to do if he talks crazy to her? I love this woman. I don't want him, she got a 10 to 12, 15, 14-year-old son getting up in his mother's face. Dude feels like he needs to protect his woman, right? So that's going to put him in a situation where he's got to fight a teenager. He can't put his hands on the kid because that's child abuse. And then he's going to go to jail. So it puts him in a very awkward position. If you have kids, I'm telling y'all, if you have kids, please watch these videos on this channel about parenting so that you can understand the boundaries that you need to set with your boys, especially your boys. You have got to get them in line. You cannot let them run the house. And if you tell your son that he's the man of the house, you need your ass kicked. Motherfucker ain't paying no bills. He's not a man. Don't ever tell a little boy that and put that on his shoulders. That's what this blows his head up, but then it puts too much weight on him. He's a child. Okay? Don't do that. And if you've been doing that, rescind that. Tell him you made a mistake and he's not a man. Tell him what a man is so he can strive to be that, but you don't do that. I see so many black women doing that shit. It drives me crazy. Okay, and special needs kids. Exactly. That's another thing. That's another aspect of it. You know, I mean, some guys, they have special needs people in their families and they're used to it. And they just, that's not an issue to them. But is that the norm? No, that's the exception. Some guys are special, teachers. They deal with special needs kids. They, coach Special Olympics, all this kind of stuff. But are you likely to find one of those guys like that on Tinder? Any of them swipey things? So, this is just a reality check based on, um, this guy's letter here. Um, I think that I don't know. I just had a real problem with the fact that all these women was calling him names and feeling like, they deserve to be included in his selection criteria when nobody owes you anything, male or female. We talk a lot here about how these guys have this entitlement complex where they feel like because they are breathing or have a job or a college degree or something, they feel entitled to some Beyonce level woman on their arm. We talk about that, right? So the same goes on the flip side, ladies. You can't be having this sense of entitlement to a guy who doesn't want to be with somebody who's like you, whether it's because you're short, whether it's you're too tall, whether it's your race, ethnicity, how you look, your weight, whatever it is. In this case, we're talking about somebody who has children by another man. That's his choice. And so you can't be mad at him for making a choice that does not include you. Just like you gonna make choices that does not include him. So these people, there's both sides who get angry at people who choose people others that aren't them. I mean, what are you doing? What is the sense that you deserve to have this and that everybody has to want you and everybody has to like you? You crazy. That's what that is. You need some couch time to get over this because don't nobody owe you shit. I mean, let's be real. Nobody owes you anything. So, this I don't know, there's something about this just really got to me. So that's why we did a pop-up. And I started thinking about the large number of single moms in the United States these days and not only just here, I mean just pretty much, Europe, Canada, most of the what they call it, the um, Western world, the Western world. In a lot, Eastern countries, it's not really acceptable. And not only that, people will fight hard to stay married, although that is changing. The women in like Japan and China and Thailand and all stuff, they getting sick of these motherfuckers, and they're like, oh hell no, and exercising their right to divorce. So as we move forward in 10, 20, 30 years from now, they'll probably be on a par with American women because men are just full of shit and women are tired of dealing with it, and now they don't have to. Whereas before they didn't have any options. They couldn't work outside the house. They couldn't, wasn't getting education. All kind of horrible stuff was going on. And so women were feel like they were forced to stay in these marriages. Now they don't have to. If they're miserable, they get out. And that's just the way it is. You know, that's just how it is. Let's see what's going on in the chat room. Just having one thing like a basic job equals, yeah, exactly. That's what they do. I went to school. I have a degree. I have a house. I have a car. I dress nice and this and that. And so then, it's like, okay, but your personality sucks ass. You talk shit to people. You have this condescending little jerk, attitude when you talk to women. No woman wants to be with you. Okay, so you looking at, well, I'm a good man because I have these things over here. But who are you as a person? The you that you present is just sucks, and no woman still wants to be with you, even though you have all those things, and that's a great start. You got to turn around and work on yourself because you having things will only attract a gold digger, and she only gonna be with you until she gets what she wants financially, and then she gonna be out too. So you pointing to this stuff that you have these material goods, dude. That's not gonna work. If you want somebody to really love you, you have to be lovable. And in order to be lovable, that means you have to have something to give the other person. You can't just be looking to get. And that's what a lot of these guys do. They just want to receive and tell the women what they need to give them and how they need to be and all sorts of stuff. And it's like, no, ain't nobody no trained seal jumping through a hoop ring for you. Nobody's going to do that. So if you don't have something to give a woman, she's not going to come to you. And ladies, you have to understand that when you have kids, most of your what you got to give is going to them. The dude is like because the women always say, my kids come first. Okay, if a guy wants to have a relationship with a woman where he comes first and he puts her first, then he can't be with a single mother because then that means he's trying to come between you and your children. And it's like if it's his kid, like they have time, you have a couple of years together, and then you have children. Well, he's got that time that you already put that time into him. He's already put that time into you. Now you guys can put your time, switch gears a little bit and put some of that time into raising your children. That's usually when it works out the best. Okay. No, it's not wrong. I don't think it's wrong either. Likable, well, yeah, that goes without saying. You can't be lovable if you're not even likable. But I guess okay, you're right. Me, I just assume people know that because to me, lovable, likable is included in lovable. You got to like somebody before you love them, right? I mean, to me, that should go without saying. But I don't know. You might be right. Maybe people need to be. It needs to be said. You won't date a man that have kids either. That's your preference, exactly. A lot of women are that way. I know. I don't want to. I just don't want to. I told y'all about the dude I dated, and I had my daughter then. So let's see, she was in middle school, so she was probably about 13, 14, maybe. I don't know. And I was dating this dude, and that for a hot minute. And he's the one who told me he was divorced, and told me that his son was schizophrenic. I broke up with him on the spot. Just like after he finished telling me that story, I was done. I was done, because and he's telling me the story. His son is schizophrenic, and how his son was chasing his sister. The sister had to lock herself into a bedroom and push the dresser in front of the door. And so, because the boy was like, like a little husky boy, and he was like 16 or something, and the little girl was like my daughter's age, and her brother, was trying to hurt her. And so she ran to her room and she calls her mother from the room. The mother calls him, and oh, he's telling me the story, right? And the mother calls him instead of the police. And I'm like, okay, why did you call this idiot? But whatever. And he tells her that he can't come to the house because he's at work. Now, your daughter's in crisis. Your wife is hysterical, about to go home into this hot mess, and your son's trying to hurt your daughter. And he's schizophrenic, and you know this. And you just dip out and say, "Oh, what you want me to do because I'm at work." That's what he told me. He said to his wife. And I'm sitting there and I'm listening to all this, right? So he's thinking that he's telling me this story that I'm gonna be on his side because his wife was bothering him at work. And what I'm sitting there thinking about is you a motherfucking asshole. How you gonna abandon your wife, daughter, and your son in that way? I just lost all respect for this man in like I can't even tell you what microseconds it just dried up. And I realized at that moment it was nobody I could ever be with. Not only for the fact that, of how he treated his family, but also for the fact that, if I continued with him, then at some point I would, my daughter would be around his kids, right? I mean, and so, and I'm thinking, okay, but see, if his son had decided to have one of them schizomaniac moments and did try to do something to my daughter, I would kill that boy. I already know who I am. I would brain his ass with like a baseball bat or rhubarb. I have these, you know how they put those pipes in cement? What's it called? Rebar. I have a rebar pipe. You poke somebody with that, and it's going to make a puncture wound all the way through them to the other side. You bust them upside the head with it. This is going to break, clothes going to crack. And I like to carry that motherfucker with me everywhere I go. And so I would hit him with that, and then his shit would be dead. And because he had tried to attack my daughter. So, I'm sitting there, I'm listening to his conversation, and I'm like going into the future because, I believe in that and then what stuff, right? Because I made a video about it. And then what? You don't think about what's just happening right now. You think about, okay, if this happens and I do this, or this, then what? So you looking at your options, right? And all the options that I saw were bad. They were all ended up with me being in prison for life. So I'm like, okay, this is not a good scene. What am I gonna do? I'm gonna break up with this motherfucker. That's what I'm gonna do. So soon as he finished talking, I was like, okay, yeah, bye. And I don't think we need to see each other anymore. And he's like, "What are you talking about?" I said, "Oh no, mm-mm. Because that little girl right there, see what just happened to your daughter? If your son did that to my daughter, we'd have a serious problem. And not only would I hurt your son, I would hurt you. So I think in order to prevent that, we just need to just cut ties. And it was nice knowing you. It was fun. A couple of months. It was nice. I think went out with him for about 2 months. We didn't do anything. No, we never did the do. Thank goodness. But so I was like, no, let's just end this now. So that's it. So I make my decisions for my dating life based on what I think is best for my daughter. I'm glad she's grown now, so now that's not a concern. But during that period of time, that was my chief priority was her safety. Let's see what's going on in the chat room. Revise you on the internet far too much. Yeah, well, see, that's the thing, MX. She's saying that if the guys say a lot of things, but then they do another thing. That's another thing that is very important. You got to watch out for. um, I put that under the envelope of integrity because what a man says and what a man does should match up. Otherwise, you don't know what you're dealing with. You have no clue. You don't know who's the real guy here. And so, people can talk all kinds of shit. Oh, I'm the biggest shit talker there is in the world. Am I going to back that up? If it's something about, protecting me or mine, yes, I'm going to back that up. But, some other stuff, I might be saying all kind of stuff. That don't mean I'm going to actually do it. I'm talking to a man. I'm going to say all kind of stuff. I'm going to say whatever I feel like saying. And then I won't say other stuff that I probably could say just because I don't want to. Let you figure it out on your own. So if you got a guy who's like me and you basing your life on him, you're going to have a problem. Hey, Vanna, you're going to have a problem, especially involving your kids in it. That's a very important point that MX brought up. Is this guy, I mean, even something as simple as he tells you, I'm going to call you at 7 o'clock tonight. Well, you don't hear from him until 9. Okay, then his words and what he said and what he's doing is not matching up. Little start with little things, ladies. If you can't trust him with little stuff, oh, I'm gonna pick you up at 7:30 and we going out to dinner. Well, 7:45, he still ain't there, and he hasn't picked you up, and you don't know where he is. You calling him and it just goes to voicemail. And then around 8:30, he calls you. Oh yeah, yeah. Oh yeah, I forgot. And stuff like that. And then you guys let it slide. You don't let that shit slide. You break up with him. You stop seeing a man like that. He's playing you and taking you for granted. And you're going to try to involve your kids in a situation with some flaky ass fool like that? See, that you don't do stuff like that. And you have to look at a man and how he behaves, how he presents himself out the gate. And if he's not being consistent, he's not being responsible, he's not being accountable, and he lacks integrity, you do not fuck with him. You do not. But so many of you make excuses. And then you figure out later, well, this guy, he was hurting my kids. He was doing this and that. He was, stealing my checks out of my checkbook. He was, getting my money out my ATM. He was doing this, getting money out of my purse, all this kind of stuff. So then you feel like you got tricked, but you already knew he wasn't shit. You had signs that he lacked integrity. Then you had signs that he wasn't responsible or accountable for his actions and blamed everybody else for what happened to him and the decisions that he made. You already knew that. So you can't be surprised at the end. So there's a lot to being, yeah, it's a consistency and integrity as well. It's very important, I think, especially as a mother, that you have to slow your roll. A lot of women, they're pitching around and just, dick chasing, and they have all these men in and out of their life over their kids. And you put them in a very awkward position. You put the kids in because they're going to get attached. If they like the guy, they'll get attached. And then you break up with the clown. You find he wasn't shit. And you break up with him. And then your kids are devastated too. You know that kids have feelings and they have suffer a sense of loss every time that happens. They open their little hearts and they become attached to somebody. Be more responsible when you're dating and you have kids. Be responsible. The same goes for men who are single dads. As little kids get attached to the lady that you dating. Sometimes the kids like the woman more than they like their own father. I remember this advice letter I did. Let's see, is that letter in my book? I think it's in my book, Sucker Free Love. It's full of advice questions that I did from the past. Some a lot of them are funny, but most of them are serious. But this one letter where the lady was with this dude, and dude turned out to be like a druggie or alcoholic or something, and so and the mother of the kid was like like in the wind. I mean, they didn't even know where she was. So the guy just like was living with this woman, and then she kicked him out because he was acting stupid, and she kept the little girl, and the guy was fine with that. The little girl loved her like it was her mama, so she was asking me what she should do to make sure she gets custody. And so I walked her through the process to go to social services and file the paperwork and all the stuff. But that becomes an issue. Kids like consistency. They want somebody who's going to be there for them. And whether you're the dad or the mom and single parent, and you have to provide that kind of lifestyle, you have to make sure that your partner is going to augment that and be that and not distract you from your role as the parent. So I don't see where it's wrong for in summary. I don't see where it's wrong for a person who's single with no children, whether that person be male or female, to not want to become romantically involved with someone who has children. And I know some people, will feel getting their feelings about it and feel rejected and feel like, well, that's not fair. And, I'm a nice person and my kids are good and all this old stuff. That's fine. I mean, I'm not saying that's a problem. Mm. About the gym last year. Well, good. Congratulations, Simon. I used to be a personal trainer. That's That's great. I love, that's what thing that's about this Rona stuff that's messing me up the most is you can't go to the gym. That's just messing me up. Yeah, congratulations, Simon. Simon, you should not waste your time being bitter. Look, do you remember looking in the mirror, right? You look like a Oompa Loompa. Okay, that's what you look like. It's great that you was making all that money and all that kind of stuff, but the main thing that attracts a woman to you and the main thing that attracts a man to a woman is sex appeal. If you was overweight, you didn't have none. So don't be mad. What you doing wasting time being mad about that for? You did something about it because you realized that was the problem, right? So stop it. That doesn't make a lick of sense. To be mad about some shit that happened before when you was looking like a weeble. Shit, women like men with muscles and cuts and stuff. Okay, don't nobody want no fluffy dude with moves. You knew that. That's why you did something about it. Why are you getting mad about the past? That's stupid. Okay, stop it. Just stop it. You're wasting energy. You had a problem, you fixed it. Just like people that have fucked up teeth. They want to be smiling in your face and got teeth all sitting on top of each other and doing a dance and shit. And then they get their teeth fixed and then they mad because nobody wanted when their teeth was all and now they have a nice smile and now people want to talk to them. You can't be mad about the shit about you that was fucked up. Like Dr. Larry Davis said, your romantic market value was low. You did something to raise it. Okay, now you're gonna come. You improve yourself. You're gonna be come to the attention of women who want a man who's in shape, who looks like something, who's educated, who's got his shit together and stuff. So now you at the top of the food chain. Okay, you went from the bottom to the top, just like the Jeffersons. Okay, so there's no need to be mad. Don't be mad at nobody but yourself. Because all them donuts and shit that you ate that made you overweight, that's what you should be mad at. Don't be mad at the women. I'm just saying. I'm just saying. I'm glad you was pretty gross. See, come on, Simon. Come on, dude. I'm glad you asked me that though. Because I don't want you to waste your time being mad about that. Just look at you. Look at that. I mean, look at you now. Okay. Would you want somebody that looks like you? Let's be honest here. Would you? Come on now. Yeah, if you're not gonna be mad be about rejecting women that was looking like you, then you can't be mad at women for rejecting you when you look like a tubbalard. Come on now, this is a reality check. Don't waste your time, your life, your energy on stupid stuff. Okay, let it go. Let's move on. You sound like you. What I really appreciate about what you said is that you saw that you had a problem and you did something about it. That is the main thing that a lot of these dudes don't do. They just want to stay looking crazy and don't do anything to change and to make themselves more attractive to the opposite sex so they can get the things that they say that they want. Get the beautiful wife, have the lovely little family and all the stuff. You have to present yourself just like you applying for a job. You don't go into a job looking, talking about, well, I don't have any experience, and I know I'm wearing my clothes I've had on for a week, but I still want you to hire me anyway. You don't do that. So it's the same thing when you applying for a relationship. It's the same reality. Okay? You can't come in there looking all fucked up. That's just the way it is. So you did something about it. So let's move on here. I want you to send me a picture of you and your fiance. Surviving dating at gmail.com. That's where you send it. And don't be doing this. Do not hanging on to some old ancient shit. You know, looks do matter. Okay, what is sexual attraction if it's not based on looks? For men, they look at a woman, their dick gets hard. Okay, your dick starts moving around, and you be like, "Ooh, she hot. Ooh, I want to tap that." Okay, what is that? Are you going to get like that over some woman that weighs 300 pounds? No, you're not. Okay, let's just be realistic. You're going to get over that over, your dick's going to move around some woman who's fly and attractive. Well, women are the same way. We don't get like dick boners, but, we get things start, you know, stirring. It's the same thing. We start imagining all kind of stuff. Men always think women are so so pure and pristine. We are dirty just like men. Okay, we just don't advertise it. The only one who really usually knows is whoever is our man. But shit. You think a person who can have multiple orgasms is gonna be happy with some guy who can't deliver them? Okay, so that comes with being in shape, having good stamina, and looking like something that she wants to be in bed with. Okay, that's just realistic, Simon. I don't know what else to tell you. So keep it up, Simon. Start working out with using some kettlebells, honey. You want to add some lean muscle mass quick? Have a personal trainer at your gym show you how to work out with a kettlebell, and you will be looking like something real fly. I'll be like, hmm, Simon, what your name is? Yeah, that tingle I'm trying to tell you. I used to have this thing for dudes that we walking down the street, right? And they would have on tight jeans and they have like slightly bowed legs. There was a lot of that in Texas. So I just stayed following men down the street, just going in the opposite direction where I need to go just so I could check out that walk. Oh, and if they had that Denzel kind of, thing going on, God I might follow for 2 or 3 blocks. Just because I'm like being a stalker. But dudes that have that going on, I mean, it's just like instant. I just go zoop, is instant attraction. I'm not trying to necessarily get with them or anything like that. It's just something about that male physique and that walk and that presentation and everything that just is very attractive to me. So I would follow them down the street just looking. And these are, I'm just telling you, I would do that. Yeah, oh, low carb. Oh, you box. Okay. That's good. Well, honey, you that's okay. That's good because that's like cardio plus the strength building. Okay. Well, yeah, try some kettlebells though. It's a whole new, you should mix up your workout because it's going to make you develop different muscles and on a different way. So you want to do I mean, that's good. It got you where you are now. I'm not putting it down at all. I'm just saying, try to mix up your workout so that you're not using the same muscles over and over and over and over and over and the same way over and over and over and over and over because you're only getting, your body weight. You want to add some weight to that so you challenge your muscles in a different way. So try some, bench, I don't know, whatever you're going to do. But I recommend kettlebells, and I think it'll help your boxing as well. Your punch will be magnificent. Develop your shoulders and upper back. Yeah, honey. Yeah, they be thirst traps, and I be thirsty as a motherfucker, and I'm admit it. I'll be walking down the street. Yeah, my brother used to was teaching me boxing, and my other brother was into kung fu. Yes, I do, Faith. I do a lot. I really do miss it. I just can't do it anymore like I used to because of my back. That's why I had to stop. I messed up my back helping a client on a Smith machine. I told her, dumbass, to put well, I mean, she was one of my clients, but I wasn't working out with her at that moment. But I told her, when you use a Smith machine, we have these stops there that are for emergency so that if the weight, your legs crumble, you injure yourself, whatever, you have to move out from the bar, it's going to drop, but it's only going to drop to the level of those stops so that you can lay on the floor and it won't hit you. Did she do it? No. So something happened. I never did get what it was. Oh, look at you. Everybody over here losing weight. Get it, Todd. So she over there on the Smith machine, right, doing her squats, and something happened, and she didn't have the stops in place. So I ran over. She was screaming, and I was the nearest trainer. People was coming, but I was the nearest one there. The guys were coming, but they was on the other side of the gym. So I was like, I don't know, maybe 20 feet from her, maybe 30 feet, something. Anyway, choom, 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 and I was there. And, I'm grabbing the weight, and she had all this weight on this thing. And, I grabbed it in a way that wasn't really anyway, I felt my back like pop. And so then both of us on the ground. I was fucked up. And that was the last day I was training. After that, I was out on disability for a year from my job. And, they keep you on for like a year, and then they give me a test. I had to pass a physical uh, to go back to work, and I couldn't pass it. I couldn't lift the weight that they wanted me to do. And they said, so that was that. So then I had to go, back to doing office type stuff. And, so I just did some contracting and everything. But I'm telling you, so I really like that because, you make a hell of money and, you work like 4 or 5 hours a day and then the rest of the day is yours. Some days I didn't work at all. Some days I might put in a straight 8, move all the clients into one day. Then I'd be off for 4 or 5 days. But, you make like $1,500 in one day. You don't really need to work a lot. So I loved it. Thank you, Mashonda. Yeah, it was anonymous. I'm telling you, it was so bad. One day I tried to get off the couch. I could tell you guys this now that I know you better. I was sitting on the couch and I was watching TV, and then I had to, go to the bathroom. I tried to get up and I could not move. I couldn't get off the couch. And I was at the house by myself. My daughter was at a birthday party or something. I couldn't get up. I couldn't get up. So then finally I moved and I like went onto the floor. I had to like crawl to the bathroom. And of course I couldn't make it. So then I'm peeing on myself. And that was the most embarrassing thing. And it was just terrible. But that's when I knew that the problem was really bad. So, I told my doctor what happened. So they did all kind of MRIs and all kind of stuff. But, they just figured that it was something, it wasn't really like, necessary for surgery. It was just a serious, serious soft tissue injury. And my back was fucked up. Fucked up. It was awful. Are you going to be a Zumba instructor? Oh, yeah, girl, get it. That's fun. So, yeah, back injuries, man, if you can avoid it, please do. Second thought, I was like, shit, I should have let that bitch get smashed. I would still have my career and my back would be fine. And the only one who would have got hurt was her. But, it just, what do you do? You don't know. I like Zumba. Usually I don't really like group X stuff because I'm the kind of person, like my workout time is my time to get in my head and be alone and think my thoughts. And so I don't like that group stuff. They be talking too much and there's too many people in the room. I'm, but I'll do a Zumba class occasionally. Hmm. Yeah, I think you're right, Tula. You're right. That's what I should have done because I had already told her. You know what I mean? I should have just let her get that lesson. And like this guy, I told him about using. He was doing a bench press, and I told him, make sure that you have, the same thing. We have the bench press with, the racks and stuff. And I told him, make sure, you're using a lot of weight, sir. You should make sure that you have a spotter because, get one of the guys you guys can work out together and spot each other because he was doing too much weight for me to do it. And he didn't, well, I can do it by myself. Okay, so he's doing all these things, all this weight, and then his muscles fatigued and he he couldn't lift the weight up. He dropped the thing, dislocated his shoulder, and was just all fucked up in up in his upper chest or his ribs or wherever. We found out he didn't break any, but he bruised his ribs really bad. But he did dislocate his shoulder, tore his rotator cuff, all kind of stuff. And he's over there screaming on the bench, right? And I look at him and I said, I told you to use a spotter. That's what I told him. Then I called, security, and they called 911 at the front desk. They called 911 to get him. But he just sit there looking at me stupid. I couldn't resist. I couldn't resist. I just had to rub it in. I told you to use a spotter because it wasn't 5 minutes later that that this accident happened, and so he just looking stupid. Yeah, just looking stupid. Yeah, you do got to pay attention. You don't want to get yourself beat up. saw a recent picture of Denzel, and he got a gut now. Well, I'm talking about in the 90s. He didn't have all that. Motherfucker was fly as hell. 90s and 2000s, and even in the 20 teens. But he's a middle-aged man now, so he's worked hard. He's entitled to have all of that. Him and Pauletta can just go on and be old together. That's all right. Because his son is like taking his place. Have you seen Denzel's son? It's like, woo! Got his daddy's good looks. But I don't know. I think anyway, I wanted to have this conversation because I think it's one that, we needed to have as everybody heads out here into the dating, into the dating world. Um, it's very important that you understand Dr. Larry Davis's concept of RMV, romantic market value, and just be realistic with what you have to offer and where you are in life. If you even if you're a nice looking person, but you don't have no money, you don't have a job, your value goes down. You could be a nice looking person that has education and has money, but you have a fucked up personality. Well, your value goes down. You could be a very nice person that's got a good job and an education, whatever, but you depressed all the time and taking all these medications and stuff. Well, your value goes down. And I'm not saying it's impossible for you to have somebody. I'm just saying understand what that does to you on the grand scale and what the competition that's out there and where you're going to fall on the scale. You're not going to be catching necessarily the attention of people at the top of the food chain. That's not going to happen because you have issues. Let's be realistic here. There's some things about you that make you less attractive than somebody who doesn't have those things. And so, like me, I know, when you for women, like as you get older, your RMV goes down. Although, for a man in his 60s or 70s, I'll still be somebody's little darling because, you always younger than somebody. Let's put it that way. So for them, I'm young to them. And so I guess that's what I'm gonna have to do. And then you also have to look at, for me, I know I have a bad attitude. It's like I'm not taking no shit from nobody. And so you come with some crazy conversation, you'll either get dismissed or you'll get cussed out, or maybe even both. Cussed out and then dismissed. So for me, I know that a lot of men aren't used to that kind of stuff. They're used to women being compliant and submissive and quiet and, pleasing and all this old stuff. Please, you look for that over here, you gonna just die. That's not me. So I understand that. I accept that about myself. And so that eliminates me from a whole bunch of men's radar because of the fact that I have this attitude. I admit it. I had no problem with it. Oh, teeth. Oh, yeah. People with jacked up teeth. Yeah, we're not doing that. But they could fix those. It's just a matter of, be realistic about what you doing, what you got going on, and then handle it. Like Simon did. He knew he was overweight and he was, looking like a puffer lumper. And he went and he did something about it though. See, he didn't sit there crying and stuff and join these groups online and hating women and going through all these changes. He looked in the mirror and he said, damn, dude, for real. And then he got to the gym and he and worked that out and got that off of him. So now he looks like something that women be like, ooh, damn, what your name is. Okay, that's it. That's what you do. If there's something about yourself that's making your romantic market value lower, change it. That's all you have to do. You a woman with kids, though, you can't really change that. But what you can do is make sure that your children are well behaved. They do what they're told. They're not messy. They don't talk back. And they're respectful. Okay, if you can make your kids like that, well, then a lot of dudes won't mind dealing with them because they'll be like, oh, they're really not a problem. Her kids are kind of cool. And that's, they might have not really thought that it was an ideal situation for them, but by having your shit in control and having your kids your kids being sensible, it makes the transition for a man who's not used to being around kids very easy. He'll be able to enjoy being spending time with your children and find them to be funny and entertaining and pleasant to be around. And so then it's not that big deal to him. It's like, oh yeah, she got a couple of kids, but they're great. The kids are fabulous. I actually like spending time around them and stuff like that. That's what you want. So versus you yelling at the kids and cussing at the kids and all of that, and the kids are bad as hell. They tell you ain't my daddy and all this kind of stuff. Where the man just trying to show them guidance and respect for you mainly. Then he's not gonna want to be putting up with that nonsense. He's not gonna want to do that. So it's something to think about, you guys. Something to think about. You can get anything fixed these days. Yeah, I mean, it takes money. You got if you don't have money, you at least got to have some good credit, because they'll do anything on time. So you can pay for plastic surgery on the payment plan. So she said, I'm a 26-year-old female with no children. I have a number of male friends who will date single moms. Basically, they are willing to do so, to do stuff to appear more desirable because they are at a disadvantage. Exactly. That's exactly it, Nicole. They know that their RMV is lowered because they have children. So they do other stuff to try to compensate. But I'm saying they shouldn't do that. They shouldn't do that. Can be being too religion cut off? Yes, it can. I would just tell you this, peanut jelly. No man that I've ever talked to likes a religious freak woman. Yet there are a whole bunch of women that's all on there always talking about God bless and Jesus and all this stuff. Everything on their Facebook is some religious something. Everything that they talk about is something to do with religion. Men they're not really feeling all of that. They might deal with it because women. I mean, maybe you fly, you cook good, or there's some advantage for them to be with you. But as far as the majority of men don't want to be bothered with somebody who's a Bible thumper like that. Always up in church. Don't want him to do nothing because, that's not godly and all that old stuff. You'd all be doing too much. It's one thing to have your faith, but you don't need to carry it with you everywhere you go. Just be normal. Okay? You just like a crutch or something. It's like, oh, I can't stand it, and I know men who can't either. I'm reading all the stuff. That's why I'm looking. I have two monitors up here. I'm about to get a third, but so I have the chat on this screen and my software, streaming software on this one. Yeah, they married to the Lord. They need to get their act together. After I wrote my book about the black church, I got a whole bunch of letters from men talking about how their wives and girlfriends were so religious that it just made them sick, and how it was ending the marriage because they put so much stock in what the preacher had to say or what's going on at church. They was neglecting home in favor of that. So I don't know. I'm just not a fan. Even with women friends is always talking about all that, God bless you. I'm gonna pray for you. I'm like, bitch, don't pray. Don't do that. Don't even tell me shit like that. It gets on my goddamn nerves. Oh, you taking the Lord's name in vain. I was like, you lucky I said God instead of you, because that's what I really wanted to say. But don't do that to me. I don't believe in all that shit. So you sit up there, gonna force it down my throat. Anyway, that's the utmost in disrespect. I had two friends I had to tell that to. Well, they ain't friends no more. But you know what I mean? It's like, that's me. Don't do that. Don't do that to me. You can think it in your head, I'm telling you, but don't be saying it to me like I'm supposed to be pleased that you're gonna say, do a prayer for me. I don't believe in your God. Okay? So don't do that. And they're like, well, you should, it's just gonna save you, this and that. And they just like basically just trying to force it down your throat. No, let's end this relationship. Let's do that. Yeah, I got offended. I was like, this is some bullshit. And then, with me, it's like, you're going to get me to the point where I start cussing you out. So I'm trying, I'll be trying to not do that to people. I just, I try not to do that to women, but, they be pushing me there. So you have to end the association before it goes there. Yeah, they do. They're trying to come to bring you, tell you to come to church with them. I'll come to church and firebomb that motherfucker. That's what I'll do. You don't want me up in the church. Because as soon as the preacher starts talking some shit, I'm going to stand up and cuss his ass out and tell him about himself. You know, all these women up in here giving him this motherfucker their money. And they can't even buy clothes for their kids and food and going down to the food bank and shit. And what you giving the preacher $25? $30, $50. I don't give a fuck if it's $5. You don't give his ass shit. No woman should ever give a man anything. And they're like, well, I'm going to help you support the building fund. Why? Let the man do it. Let his ass get out there and hustle up that money. He want his church to be bigger. That's his job to make the children money. It's not your job. Don't you give a motherfucker shit. If black women stop giving churches money, you know, like 90% of them bitches would dry up and fall and just fold in a matter of a week. All them churches are sustained on the backs of black women. Black women need to take their money and invest it in themselves and their kids. Get together and form some investment clubs, some bonds, stocks and bonds, and have an investment club. Everybody split the proceeds. Them stocks be going up and splitting and shit. You can all build wealth that way. You be giving all your money to some fucker in the church? I wish I would. What's going on with my internet? Oh, oh, there it goes. Okay, now it's back. I think my internet dropped off there for a minute and stopped sending to YouTube. Hmm. Giving their whole paychecks. Well, I heard somebody was talking about how, and then you're a single mama, right? You have no business up in the church doing nothing. You shouldn't be giving them 5 cents. You have kids. That's where you tithe, okay? But I heard somebody was telling me how some of these churches these days, they want you to give them your the tax W-2 form. They want you to give them a copy of your W-2 so they can make sure that you tithing 10% of your actual income. Where they doing? I was shocked. They're like, oh yeah, they be doing that. I'd be like, wow, I'm not giving you shit. The only person who needs a copy of my W-2 is the IRS, and that ain't you. So you don't get that. But people be giving it to them just because they asked for it. I don't understand it. I wouldn't want to. I wouldn't want to be doing that. That would not work for me. Oh, the mega churches in the South? Yeah, see, no, we're not doing that. We're not doing that. I'm not doing that. Mm-mm. Yeah, money woman. But this is something I think, they're preaching all this prosperity thing, and you as a single mom, your prosperity is going to be in the development of your children. It's in the future. But you make sure your kids get a good education, that your children are well behaved, that your children know things, expose them to things, take them to museums, take them to the library, take them to exhibits, art exhibits, and things like that. Take them places that a lot of black people don't take their children. Why do you want to do that? You want to do that so that your children are exposed to a wide variety of things so that when they go to college, they fit in because they're going to be mingling with people from all over the country. And a lot of those people, your kids might know what they know as far as school, books, formal education, but there's way more to life than that. Your children have to know how to socialize. They should know the basic rudimentary things about tennis and golf and other kinds of sports. They should know, even if you don't play them, try to make sure your kids know how to swim. Why? Because you go mix and mingle with rich people, they always have yachts and want to be going boating and shit. Okay, your kid's gonna be invited. Let's go for a swim, Joe. Okay, well then your child don't know how to swim and ain't never been in a swimming pool, stuff like that. You have to expose your child to things. Think of all the kinds of opportunities that they would miss out on because you didn't teach them anything. Even if you don't know yourself, nowadays there's YouTube. YouTube can teach you anything. Okay, formal place setting so that when your child is invited to the White House, your child knows how they got 16 forks and knives on the table. Your child will understand what each glass is, what each fork is for. All these different things, your child will know what is going on. You guys have to do better at that kind of stuff. And so that your child then is not going to be eliminated from any opportunities that might come his or her way. Your child will fit right in, no matter if they from the hood or not. That part doesn't matter. Anybody can learn anything. And so, this kind of thing, I think a lot of times these women, um, you know, these women, like, they got angry at this guy. They're trying to distract themselves from their lives by chasing men, chasing after the next dick. And it's like, maybe, and I hate to say this, but it's reality. If you wanted to do all that, why didn't you do that before you started having kids? I'm not saying dick chasing is bad. I'm just saying you don't dick chase when you have children to be responsible for. You get to pick one or the other. So if you want a dick chase, then you do that and you don't have kids. Make sure your birth control game is tight. And if you get pregnant, you get an abortion. That's what you do. You don't go having babies by miscellaneous stray motherfuckers and then be thinking, well, I don't understand why dude don't want to be with me. He don't want to deal with you and your kid. Your responsibilities: crying, poopy diapers, vomiting, fevers, baby daddy drama, no money, child support, daycare issues. That's a lot. It's a lot. I mean, think about it. I had to deal with all of that, after my husband died. I had to become a single parent. That was some bullshit. So the women, that have to do that all by themselves, I mean, you got some strength I just don't have. I admit it. One kid was killing me, so I don't know how people do it. You know. It was a lot. Yeah. And a lot of times, Diana, too, they have things like, if you keep up, like they'll have free days, like a lot of museums and stuff like that. Like, I don't know, out here in California, they do. They have free days. Once a month, it's a free day. And so if you can't afford it, because a lot of times the tickets are expensive, you go take your kid on the day that is free. Or they might have discount tickets. Sometimes the schools will have field trips there and it's a discount. Well, make sure that you go and be an escort with your kids' class that day so that you can learn right along with your child. And like I said, there's a lot of stuff you guys can sit there and watch on YouTube together. You put it on your TV and you two sit there. You can travel to foreign countries with, the travel logs and stuff. You can do, they have all kinds, they have plays online. They have all kinds of instructions about household repairs online, all kinds of stuff that you and your child can learn together, you and your children. So there's no reason to sit up there watching Housewives all the damn time and what's ever happening in Atlanta and all this old stupid stuff. Google free events. There you go. Money woman. Say, see, she say Google free events in your area, and you can take your kid there. But there's a lot to this. I mean, this is just touching the surface, of course, and we was all over the place. You know me, I can't stay on topic unless it's like what the fuck Tuesday, and I have a script. But there's a lot to this being a single parent and dating. And this is just one aspect of it. But I think that, considering the reality that your time is going to be tied up with your children, a guy who's single with no children does not want a woman who has that kind of obligation. He wants somebody who's as free to bounce around as he is. And having done that lifestyle myself, I understand it. They getting up in the middle of the night, deciding on Friday at work. Dude calls you up at lunchtime, babe. Let's go to Reno this weekend. That's like when you go gambling and stuff. Let's go to Reno. Let's go to Tahoe this weekend and stuff. We can just drive up there and find us a hotel or something. To some cheap place and then spend the weekend up there. Great. Okay, so you get off work, you fly home, you throw some shit in a suitcase. Dude comes and picks you up. Y'all on the road. Okay, did you have to get a babysitter? Worry about the kids screaming and grabbing your leg. Little Johnny's sick. Little Sally's mad because you leaving her again. That's the stuff. So you got to deal with all of that kind of stuff. And, feel the guilt of, leaving your kids. It's on the weekend. It's the only time you really get to spend with them. Blah, 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 blah. A guy doesn't want to have to deal with all of that. So they don't be mad at him. If you're gonna be mad at somebody, be mad at yourself. But it's really not even need to be do that. Just realize this is what it is what it is. So work with what you got. Work with what you got. And just be realistic about it. Yeah, they do like that. Yeah, they can't buy anything for themselves because they don't have enough money. So if you want your money, your kids need shoes, or you want to get your nails done, guess which one you're gonna do? Because you're a parent, and that's your responsibility. And so, a guy coming in knowing if he's got a woman he wants her to look good, he already know he gonna have to pay for them nails and that hair, um, because she can't afford it because she got kids. That's another consideration. You know, he knows he's gonna be coming out of pocket. So there's a lot to think about. Like I said, this is just touching the surface, but I just wanted to put this, out there. So if you see a guy, a guy says he's not interested in dating a single mom, do not get mad. Do not get defensive. Don't get angry at him. That's his choice. He's entitled to make it. Just like you're entitled to make one to not date a single father. Okay, it's the same thing. People want what they want, and they might want something that is not you. There's not a problem there. Don't get in your feelings about it. Just realize that it's a big world out here. You'll find somebody who that wants what you got to offer. He's not. It's not him though. So don't be mad at him for not wanting you. Okay, that's the whole point here. And a lot of these dudes, will try to do stuff like talk about the single mothers in a way like they're trash or garbage or all this kind of stuff. Well, ignore them as well. That's not the point. But but as far as the dating, this seemed like a nice guy. I mean, he was very respectable. He just said in his profile, not interested in single moms, and people lost their shit over it. So don't take it personally. Like I said, that's why I want to explain in this show what is that single mothers are dealing with so that you guys take a realistic assessment of your life and understand that not everybody's going to want to take that on, and they don't have to. That's the bottom line. They just don't even have to. So we are going to be back on Tuesday, right? Tuesday. Tuesday with What the Fuck Tuesday. And I got a couple of more interviews. I did the last interviews for the NARC series. I did the last interviews yesterday. So over the course of this week, the last interviews will be going up as we brought back the Dusty News Network um, this week. As you know, I can't do everything, so I got to divide my time up. And so with DNN, it's very time consuming. So I brought that back. So I'm, right at the tail end of these interview series. But I will come up with something else, very soon. So you guys just be ready. You know how I do things, and we'll be doing the the webinar hopefully in August if I can get my act together. But thank you guys for sitting in on my pop up this evening. I appreciate everybody's contributions, and the conversation in the chat stream was very, very good. If you're listening to this, please check out the chat stream. They augment the conversation extremely well. Thank you, Simon, for popping in and sharing your weight loss story with us. And ladies, you guys enjoy yourselves and the rest of your weekend. I'll see you on Tuesday. Okay? Bye bye.